project. Make sure you are in your extern bootcamp folder. Do not do this inside a People Factory. You don't want to create Dinoplasty inside People Factory. Git things will get very screwed up. If you're not sure where you are at any time, and your directory isn't part of your prompt, but it probably is, you can type pwd, confirm where you are, and then we need to mkdir, mkdir, Dinoplasty. Then, and this is very important, change into that directory before you type git init. You do not want to run git init inside your home directory and commit all of that stuff. I'm really emphasizing this because someone in the first session did that, made a Git repository in his home directory, realized his mistake, and deleted his home directory. Be very careful. Okay. I am in my Dinoplasty folder. I'm going to run ls just to make sure there's nothing in there. Then I'm going to run git init. I mean, git init in and of itself wouldn't hurt anything. But then if you start doing strange things, bad stuff will happen. All right. Initialized empty Git repository. Let's make it less empty. I'm going to go ahead and open up code. Code space dot to open up code inside my Dinoplasty folder. I'm going to create a new file. All caps, readme, lowercase .md. I don't think it actually matters for the readme a whole lot, but be mindful of your capitalization in your file names. Unix is case sensitive, and in all likelihood, the server where this would eventually be running would be Unix. URLs are case sensitive. So as a general rule, use all lowercase unless you know you shouldn't. Like readme, GitHub kind of by default capitalizes it, so we're going to do that. And once we get into React, they like to capitalize certain things too. But general rule, keep your file names all lowercase. Separate new words with hyphens instead of underscores, because search engines and grep and other things treat hyphens as word breaks and do not treat underscores as word breaks. Okay, readme. Let's put something in here. Hash Dinoplasty. What's with the hash? What's up with this? Who knows what this is? Who knows what I'm asking? Hang on. Cameron Glass. It's mark down, right. It's markdown, which compiles to markup. So markdown is a plain text format by a guy named John Gruber that compiles to HTML very easily. The nice thing about it is it's very readable. Unlike HTML, if you're just trying to read the text out of HTML, tags all over the place, it's a pain in the neck. But markdown, the source remains very readable. So that is an H1. This is just a paragraph. This is another paragraph. So just a bunch of text with line breaks in between, it makes those into paragraphs. This would be an H2. Thing 1, thing 2, stuff, nonsense. What do you suppose this is? Yeah, an unordered list. That's a bulleted list. So Markdown remains very readable. That's kind of how you would do a bulleted list in plain text, and so it translates into one in Markdown. So that's the format in which we write our readmes. If you put Markdown inside your long Git messages, not the short ones that we've been doing, GitHub will also display that, treat that as Markdown. Right now, we're going to keep the README nice and short. Dinosaurs. Yay. Just so we have something to commit. So I'm going to git add so that Git knows about that file. I'm going to commit git commit -m with a message. I'm just going to say initial commit. Now we have a Git repository, but it still only lives on our laptops, right? So we need to add a remote. So out on GitHub, create a new repository. Don't initialize it with a README. We already created one. Okay. Push an existing repository because we've already got one. Notice, by the way, in case you haven't, the copy to clipboard button here. Use it because it's very easy to select something slightly off if you use your mouse. That goes for the website for the class too. We have those there. A few people have run into problems because they didn't copy and paste right when they were like setting up some of their configuration files during the setup and ended up with some stuff broken. So anytime you see something like that, use it, save yourself the typing, avoid errors. There we go. So those commands again, git remote add, adds a remote that we can sync with. Origin is simply the name of the remote, not a magic word, but by far the most common thing to name a remote that you're syncing with. And this is the URL of that specific repository. Git push, we've been using. That's how we push our local changes to the remote. The very first time we do it, we have to specify which remote and which branch. -u means track this branch from now on unless I tell you otherwise. So now we just get to say git push. If that worked, we can refresh this page on GitHub. And there it is. And you can see I've got what looks like an H1 with a paragraph underneath it. I think, did you put a link about Markdown in the notes by any chance?
No, Natalie did actually, but I will.
In the chat, right? Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks. And as this is something that's hosted on GitHub, we can also use GitHub flavored Markdown. They've extended it a little bit.